going on, guys? It's been a while since we've talked, spent some time apart, but we're going to bring you some very educational videos over the next 4 to 5 weeks. What we're going to be looking at doing is doing a strength series of overhead press, squat, deadlift, and bench press, and doing the ins and outs of that movement, warm up, activation, and mobility to get you into performing that movement properly. So each video we're going to be covering one thing. Today we are going to be covering overhead press and everything you need to know about that movement. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first stretch we're going to be doing here is going to be a stretch for our lats. So one of the things that impedes your overhead movement is if you have really tight lats, you're not going to be able to reach overhead, and you're going to have to arch a ton to make up for that movement. So what we want to do is hopefully loosen up some of this area and this tissue to be able to get more range overhead. So the first thing we're going to do is just a banded lat stretch. You can also use a barbell or anything if you don't have a band. Hand in here. And we're gonna go palm up first, and then we're basically gonna go down onto all fours with our arm overhead. And we're actually thinking about pushing our back up to the ceiling, and we're not arching this way because you're not gonna get as much of a stretch. So pushing your back up to the ceiling and then getting that band as far overhead as you can. So hold that for about a minute or so. The second one we're gonna do is you're gonna grab a foam roller and you're gonna put it right below your shoulder blades. You're gonna start there, and you're literally just gonna lay it across your back. You're gonna go arms or hands on top of each other. You're gonna reach overhead, and you're just gonna extend over the foam roller as far as you can. Hips staying on the ground, trying to get your hands all the way down to the ground as well, and just opening up, breathing, relaxing right there. And that's gonna be the same second one. You're just gonna go about 30 seconds to a minute there. So now that we've done the mobility exercises, what we wanna do is do a little bit more activation to prime some of the assister muscles that are really gonna help with the overhead movement. We're going to go into a row with our elbows up high here, and we're gonna keep our shoulder blades down and back and rotating forward, or rotating backwards, externally rotating, and then back here, row, rotate, and we'll go about 5 reps there. And the second one we're gonna go here is start with that same movement, row, rotate, and now you're gonna press overhead, trying to keep your elbows in front of your body. So here, pressing up, back down, here, rotate, and press. You'll feel these right in the back of your shoulder, probably in between your shoulder blades as well. Trying to make sure you maintain that external rotation in your shoulders. So keep those shoulder blades down and back, and try to keep them there through that whole range of motion when you're rowing, rotating, and pressing. If you're coming up here and doing these exercises, it's not going to do you any good. So as I mentioned before, some of the assister muscles that we do want to warm up before doing overhead work is going to be a lot of mid and low trap. And the other important one is going to be your serratus, which is those finger muscles right in your armpit. You can kind of see them poking out here. So we're going to warm up those with some wall slides right here with the foam roller. Pushing into the foam roller as hard as you can. So you're almost trying to push your shoulders forward. Here, you'll feel a little bit of activation right in your armpit. That's your serratus. And you're going to press the roller into the wall as hard as you can as you're pressing up. As hard as you can, as hard as you can. And tuck your head under, all the way up and all the way down. Keep pressing as hard as you can. You'll just feel these lighting up right in your armpit. With these, it's really better to do like 5 sets of 1, executing it perfectly, than doing 1 set of 20 and just poorly executing all these. So pretty much for the setup on overhead press, what we're looking for, your length of how far apart your hands need to be from each other is going to vary from person to person. And that gives me about a distance where my forearm is perpendicular to the bar, and that's really what you want. So if you have really long arms, you need to go a little farther out. For your arms to be perpendicular, that's fine. But typically, shorter arms are going to be farther in, longer arms are going to be farther out. For me, it's about right here. Another really important consideration with the overhead press is going to be your setup, I'll call it, is once you get your hand set and you start unracking the bar, really make sure you're squeezing your glutes, make sure your chest is up, because if those two things aren't in check, what's going to happen is your lumbar spine is going to have to compensate for your lack of thoracic mobility and your lack of glute activation. So it's okay to actually have a little bend in your back, but you want it to be in your upper spine instead of your low back. Moist. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, learning a few new activations, mobility, and some techniques for the overhead press. Look out for our bench, deadlift, and squat videos that we're going to be doing. And also, if you guys want to get any more details on training, nutrition, make sure to follow my Instagram, David G. Fisher. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next weeks.